I'm Brianna Parker. I'm CEO of Black Millennial Cafe. We are a consulting firm that's decided to meet the need in our community. So we collect data and then we find multiple ways to disseminate that data into communities and organizations that wouldn't normally access data on faith in Black communities. I think the biggest opportunity and challenge for pastoral worship leaders regarding data is there's data that can help you hit your target, understand your audience, understand fears around worship, because there are fears, understand excitement that exists around worship. But many times Christians feel like that's not as organic as they would like it to be. When we talk about biblical literacy, it's okay to quote data. When we talk about how you appreciate preaching styles, it's okay to quote data. When we talk about frequency of devotion and family time, it's okay to quote data. But to connect data and worship is uncomfortable for people. It doesn't feel organic enough or spontaneous enough, or it feels like we are buying into consumerism. And so sometimes we are disconnected from things that can benefit us in major ways, and we don't use the data. Well, another challenge is that there's not a lot of data around worship. People don't commission worship projects on data when they could, because if you had data around, of course, your fear and excitement, but also what your audience feels about just music in general, what they feel around prayer in general. These kind of things can help you get to places that direct questions about worship will never get you. No one's going to say to you, I really don't want to hear about God and singing. They won't say that, right? People are not going to say, I don't want to talk about God as Father because it makes me feel uncomfortable because of my relationship with Father. They won't say those things to you directly. But in data, you can get to where people are. And sometimes I think this happens culturally in waves. So where your church was in the 90s, early 2000s, even pre-pandemic may not be where they are today. As music and fine arts changes around us in the country culturally, that actually impacts us in worship on Sunday, because you hear more music and you experience fine arts throughout your week. Maybe, let's say, for 10 hours, and then you come into worship and you get it for 20 minutes. You've been impacted by what you've heard outside of worship. And so there being data existing helps, but data not existing in abundance also hurts us. Data is a challenge, it's an opportunity, but it depends on how you see it. It depends on how you feel about numbers when it comes to relationship with God. And so it's really the very things that hope you, right, hurt you. The very things that give you the greatest amount of hope around data can also hurt you, that there's data that exists, that there's not enough of it. And so I think if we could get to the point where we were comfortable enough with experts asking the right questions to get us to the place or to get us to the answers we really want to know, we would be in a good place. I always think about John 5. You see a man who is standing between mercy and sacrifice, right? Behind him, slaughter, right? In front of him is promise. And when Jesus comes up, for a number of reasons, Jesus could have imagined what he needed. But Jesus says to him, what do you need? What do you need from me? How can I help you? And I appreciate the question because it's early surveying for me, right? It is a case for data in the church. But when it comes to worship, it tells you that maybe we shouldn't always set the tone. Maybe we should know what people need from us. Maybe we should know where people are hurting. Maybe we should know people's experience around music or worship or church or prayer or intimacy with God. And if we could ask those questions in the right ways, we would probably be able to do more healing, to do more hoping, to create greater relationships around in our congregations because of worship. I think we should become more comfortable asking the questions, and we should be more encouraged to commission data that can get us where we need to be.